As we stand here on November 17th, 2025, the air is crisp, and the first hints of winter are settling in across the country. People are pulling out their warmest coats, and the anticipation of the season ahead is palpable. But this year, there's a different kind of buzz in the air, one that's not just about holiday plans or the first snowfall. Meteorologists and weather experts everywhere are buzzing with anticipation. This winter could be one for the record books. The conversations in newsrooms and weather centers are filled with excitement and a hint of concern, as experts analyze the latest data and try to predict what's coming. The rare convergence of an ongoing La Niña and a potential polar vortex disruption is setting the stage for a season that could be wild, unpredictable, and historic. These two powerful climate forces don't often align, but when they do, the results can be dramatic, bringing extreme weather events and challenging conditions across vast regions. With La Niña influencing global weather patterns and the polar vortex threatening to unleash frigid Arctic air, the northern U.S. is bracing for intense cold and significant snowfall. Cities and towns from the Great Lakes to New England could experience blizzards, icy winds, and snow accumulations not seen in years. Computer models and historical data are all pointing in the same direction. A major atmospheric shift is underway. Meteorologists are comparing current trends to some of the most memorable winters in recent history, and the similarities are striking. The data suggests that this winter could rival or even surpass some of the coldest and snowiest seasons on record. Regions from the Midwest to the Northeast could see deep snowpacks and persistent cold, reminiscent of winters from decades past. For many, this could mean a return to the kind of winter weather that older generations remember. Long stretches of snow-covered landscapes, frozen lakes, and the constant hum of snowplows. While uncertainties always remain in weather forecasting, the signals this year are strong enough to warrant serious attention and preparation. Communities are already taking steps to get ready, from stocking up on supplies to reviewing emergency plans, knowing that being proactive could make all the difference. This guide will break down the science behind these climate drivers, explore the potential regional impacts, and offer practical steps to help you and your family get ready for what could be a classic, unforgettable winter. We'll look at what to expect, how to prepare, and why this season stands out from the rest. Stay tuned as we explore what makes this season so unique, from the science behind the forecasts to the real-world impacts you might experience in your own backyard. There's a lot to unpack, and we're here to guide you through it all. It's time to get informed, stay alert, and prepare for the extraordinary winter ahead. Whether you're a weather enthusiast or just want to keep your loved ones safe, this season promises to be one for the history books. To truly grasp what this winter might bring, we need to explore the two major atmospheric forces shaping our weather, La Niña and the polar vortex. These powerful phenomena don't just influence temperatures, they can dictate the entire mood of a season, from gentle flurries to record-breaking blizzards. La Niña is a recurring climate pattern that cools the surface waters of the central and eastern Pacific Ocean. This cooling effect shifts the position of the jet stream, the high-altitude river of air that steers storms across the continent. As a result, the northern United States often experiences colder, wetter, and stormier conditions, while the southern states tend to be warmer and drier than usual. These changes can last for months, influencing everything from snowfall totals to drought risk. Meanwhile, high above the Arctic, the polar vortex spins as a vast, swirling mass of frigid air. Normally, it's held in place by a strong band of winds that circle the pole, keeping the coldest air locked up far to the north. But when the polar vortex weakens or becomes unstable, it can wobble and split, sending surges of Arctic air plunging deep into North America. This is when we see sudden, dramatic drops in temperature and the kind of winter storms that can paralyze cities. This year, meteorologists are tracking both a persistent La Niña and signs of a disrupted polar vortex, a rare and potent combination that could amplify winter's extremes. La Niña acts as the stage manager, guiding the jet stream and determining where cold air is most likely to travel. Its influence can mean more frequent storms in the north and prolonged dry spells in the south. The polar vortex, if destabilized, becomes the engine that drives intense blasts of Arctic air southward, sometimes reaching as far as Texas or the Gulf Coast. This can turn a typical winter into one for the record books. Meteorologists are on high alert, watching for any major disruptions in the vortex. If it breaks down at the wrong time, it could transform this winter from simply interesting to truly historic, with impacts felt across the country. When La Niña and the polar vortex align, the results can be dramatic. Heavy snowfalls that blanket cities, travel chaos as airports and highways shut down, and heating bills that skyrocket as families try to stay warm. The stakes are high, with millions of homes and businesses potentially affected. From power outages to school closures, the ripple effects of these weather patterns can touch every aspect of daily life. That's why understanding the dynamic relationship between La Niña and the polar vortex is so important. By staying informed and prepared, we can better face whatever this extraordinary winter has in store. The real game changer this winter could be a sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW, a dramatic and rare phenomenon that can completely alter the course of the season. While most people focus on surface weather, SSW events unfold much higher up, in the stratosphere, where the atmosphere behaves in ways that are both mysterious and powerful. It all begins high above the North Pole, in a region that is usually locked in frigid darkness during winter. Here, the stratosphere can suddenly warm by astonishing amounts, setting off a chain reaction that ripples down to the weather we experience on the ground. In just a matter of days, stratospheric temperatures can spike by up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, an almost unimaginable shift. This rapid warming weakens or even splits the polar vortex, the powerful wind current that usually keeps Arctic air contained. This rare event is showing signs of happening as early as November, something almost unprecedented in modern records. Meteorologists are watching closely, as such early signals are extremely unusual and could have far-reaching consequences. If the SSW does occur, it could force Arctic air to spill far southward, unleashing a wave of intense cold and heavy snow across the United States, potentially starting as soon as December. This could mean a winter that arrives early and hits hard. Forecast models are already hinting at this scenario, with some suggesting the potential for a prolonged cold outbreak that could stretch well into January. Experts are analyzing every new data point, searching for clues about how severe and long-lasting the impacts might be. The SSW acts as the trigger, but the ultimate outcome depends on how the atmosphere responds in the weeks that follow. Sometimes, the effects are short-lived, but other times, they can lock in a pattern of cold and stormy weather for weeks on end. If the disruption reaches the lower atmosphere, it could reshape the jet stream, locking in a pattern of persistent cold and frequent storms across large parts of the country. This would mean not just a few cold days, but a sustained period of wintry weather. This chain reaction could define the winter for millions of Americans, bringing conditions not seen in decades. For many, it could mean a return to the kind of winters that are remembered from childhood or seen only in history books. November is the critical month to watch as this story unfolds, with every new development potentially shaping the entire season ahead. For the Midwest and Great Lakes, this winter could be a return to classic, snow-filled seasons. States like Ohio, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois should brace for colder, snowier conditions than recent years. The La Niña and polar vortex combo means heavy lake-effect snow and frequent winter storms. Expect long stretches of below-average temperatures and repeated Arctic blasts. Travel disruptions, school closures, and higher heating bills are likely. The most intense weather is expected mid to late December and again in early February. Now is the time to prepare emergency kits and weatherize your home. Readiness will be key to navigating what could be a long, challenging, but memorable winter. The Northeast, from Pennsylvania to New England, is also in for a formidable winter. Above-average snowfall and extended cold are likely, especially in the mountains. Nor'easters could bring crippling snow and high winds to major cities along the coast. The storm track favors frequent, moisture-laden systems colliding with Arctic air. Expect several major snow and ice events, with travel and power disruptions possible. Prepare now, stock up on supplies, check your heating system, and plan for potential outages. The coldest, snowiest periods will likely mirror the Midwest, late December and late January into February. For snow lovers, this could be a season to remember. For everyone, preparation is essential. The Plains and Pacific Northwest face two very different winter threats. In the northern and central plains, expect brutal cold snaps, blizzards, and dangerous wind chills as Arctic air plunges south. Volatile weather will demand constant vigilance and well-stocked emergency kits, especially for travelers and farmers. Meanwhile, the Pacific Northwest braces for relentless storms and excessive moisture. Coastal cities will see heavy rain and flood risks, while the Cascades get buried in snow, raising avalanche dangers. Mountain passes could be frequently closed, and landslides are a concern on saturated hillsides. The region's winter will be defined by gray skies, rain, and hazardous conditions. Residents must stay alert for flood and avalanche warnings. Both regions will need resilience and preparation to weather these extremes. The southern U.S., from the Carolinas to Texas, should see a typical La Niña winter, warmer and wetter than average. Most storms will track north, sparing the south from the worst Arctic outbreaks. Expect more rain than snow, with localized flooding possible in low-lying areas. However, a weakened polar vortex could occasionally send brief, sharp cold snaps into northern Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. These rare events could bring freezing rain or sleet and are hard to predict. Don't get complacent. Keep some winter gear handy and monitor forecasts for sudden changes. Enjoy the mild conditions, but be ready for the occasional surprise. Staying alert is the best way to navigate the southern winter safely. The fate of this winter hinges on what happens in the atmosphere this November. The forecast depends on whether the sudden stratospheric warming disrupts the polar vortex and couples with the lower atmosphere. If the connection is strong, Arctic air will flood south, and a severe winter is likely. If not, La Niña alone could bring a milder season. Meteorologists are watching for signs that the stratospheric changes are influencing the jet stream. By early December, the dominant pattern should emerge. Until then, consider this a strong probability, not a certainty. Stay tuned as the story develops. With a wild winter possible, preparation is crucial. Get your home ready. Inspect your heating system, seal drafts, and stock up on essentials. Build a winter emergency kit with flashlights, batteries, food, water, and warm clothing. Prepare your car, check tires, battery, antifreeze, and keep a kit with blankets, snacks, and an ice scraper. Always keep your gas tank at least half full. Stay informed, sign up for weather alerts, and check forecasts before traveling. Don't underestimate the power of preparation. It can make all the difference. This winter may be challenging, but with the right steps, you can stay safe and comfortable. We'll keep you updated as the season unfolds. Be ready, stay safe, and face this extraordinary winter with confidence.